What's up, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome my guest, man. He happens to do some covers for the 49ers and articles, man. Parker Hurley, man. How's it going?
Good. Yeah. Check out everything I do for the 49ers on SI, 49ers.com/ on SI. Yeah, check out everything. I've started writing about the 49ers in July. It's been a really fun time, hoping for this first time covering the draft from the 49ers perspective. So I'm really excited to get going.
Oh, for sure, man. I've seen you go on a couple of other platforms, so I figure and then seeing your articles has kind of got my attention.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. It's been fun covering the team. And yeah, I've been out there on YouTube and with Grant Kahn and everything like that. So check out everything I do there. And then just like I told you, just started up a TikTok. So check out everything 49ers related over there too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everything with those platforms, man. It's changed the way people look at the other platforms. But yeah, dude, like the work you're doing is speaking for itself. But if anybody wants to check out TikTok, man, go follow him on TikTok under Parker Hurley 1, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we're going to get to that very soon, but let's talk about the 49ers offseason, man. I've seen a couple of your articles. What's your take on the Niners offseason, which I'm already pretty aware of what you wrote on the article?
Right. And the thing that I keep talking about is a lot of the words that come to mind are urgency, win now, going for it, things like that. I've talked about they have this core of Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. Those are all at one point in time were all the best at their position, could argue still the best at their position for some of these guys, but they're all at that certain age where it's, are you going to hit that decline? Are you going to slowly stop being that best player at your position for all of them? And their consistent plan has been, we need to win a Super Bowl with those five. And I'm not sure if they're too worried about what happens after that. And that's when you sign somebody like Mike Evans, you say, maybe that's just a 1-year deal. Maybe we just sign him. Even if he has a bad regular season, if he has a great postseason, is that fine? And we don't even care. And that's just a fine signing for us. I talked about Dre Greenlaw kind of stalls the development of guys like D. Winters and Nick Martin, but it's an obvious upgrade in the immediate. So you're playing that. We would rather care about the immediate than play the long-term game. So that seems to be the vibe that I'm getting, is that they're going all in this year thinking that we only have X years left with those five superstars best at their position, and we need to win it while they're still at the best at their position.
Absolutely. They're getting a lot of these veteran guys, and that's what I was kind of questioning about, because when you bring back Greenlaw, it just tells me they're not too confident with D. Winters. Even though Winters showed flashes here and there, he had his moments, but you would think let the guy develop throughout next year, right? But they brought in Greenlaw because they really wanted him back, but this just does take away the development of D. Winters.
Right. And Winters is what I kind of said about him is he was really good with Fred Warner. And then whenever Fred Warner left the lineup and he started having to think for himself, communicate for himself, play for himself, and Warner wasn't helping him, I almost compared it to like when you're bowling without the bumpers there. Fred Warner is like the bumpers are up with him, and you can't roll a gutter ball with Fred Warner in there because he's going to make everything right. But when Fred Warner leaves and all of a sudden the bumpers are gone from the bowling lane, all of a sudden D. Winters is kind of, in the gutter a little bit too often for the 49ers liking. And it's like you said, there's a fair debate of, this was his first year starting. It's like his second or third year in the NFL. I think this is his fourth year coming up right now. So, give this guy a little bit of time, give this guy a little bit of leeway. It's hard to adjust without Fred Warner. He's going to have Fred Warner next year. But like you said, and like I said, I think the theme is that we don't have time to wait for Winters to overcome these things. We believe that Greenlaw is better right now. And that's what we care about. And if that stalls Greenlaw's or Winters' development, then we'll have to draft somebody in a few years and just figure it out then.
Yeah, that's probably what the plan is. Like, it just seems to me they're getting all these veterans, all these established players, and the way they went aggressive this offseason really caught me by surprise, because when we were looking at what Jed York was saying before the free agency even started, it seemed like they were going to be penny wise and all the other stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Right. But then John Lynch also said something about how, hey, we're in a good cap position. We're not afraid to go, make these sort of acquisitions. And while they are taking $10 million on the cap for Trent Williams, they actually are pushing back paying Trent Williams that $10 million. So cash wise, they're actually saving money. Cap wise, they're losing the money. So I guess it's little mechanics like that that kind of make it work. But then I guess it is just the reality of, like I keep saying, you need to win the Super Bowl with these guys. And I live in Pittsburgh. So one of the things that I realized with the Steelers is that you could take that reset year and be bad for a season or two, and it might help you in the long term because of the picks you gain, because of, you saw the 49ers, you take Nick Bosa really high, and all of a sudden you can just turn it around on the fly with an impact player like that. I think the 49ers see it in the same light of, we can spend, we can go all in right now, we can trade some draft picks, and if we're bad in like 2028 maybe is the season that we're really bad, and then by 2029 we're saving money in 2028, and we're saving cap space in 2028, and we're saving draft picks for 2029, and then by 2029 they're good again. Maybe it's worth it that they went all in this season, that they're bad 2 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, the short-term window would be like if you want to build up and start from scratch, but like this team just is kind of having that approach of what you look at when it comes to Pittsburgh. I mean, Steelers, like,
Yeah.
how are they not even trying to reset the button, all that, And you see that they're always trying to stay competitive, but I can see why some of the fan base in Pittsburgh, like you live in Pittsburgh, you would think they're so frustrated. They rather just be trash for a couple of years and actually be pretty decent at down the stretch.
Yes, and that's actually the theme in Pittsburgh right now is they would rather start Will Howard, the 6th-round pick, because if he's bad, great. Who cares? It doesn't matter. If he's good, you just found you found Brock Purdy all over again, and that's one of the great things that you could do. But I guess when you are the San Francisco 49ers, the question does come down to, okay, you lose Trent Williams, you lose Kittle, you lose, Bosa. They're all probably going to come around the same time, or McCaffrey. They're all going to come around the same time, or they're all going to start to lose steam around the same time. When that happens, you still have one Kyle Shanahan, and that's what the issue was in Pittsburgh, is you always had Mike Tomlin, and then 2, you have Brock Purdy, which is, the other thing that is, the most important thing in the NFL. Whatever you think about Brock Purdy, he's at least good enough to where, yeah, maybe they won't be able to stall out because they have the 2 most important things in all of football, they have under control for the long term at this point.
Yeah. But I think when you look at San Francisco, they've always tried to keep stability in everything around them. So like Kyle Shanahan, I think he's always wanted to keep a good core players, but there's times they do play it smart and wise, and they'll let their veterans go and they'll try to go young. But if it doesn't work out, they go into the next offseason, they'll try to get as many veterans as they can get. They're not afraid of taking chances on certain ways.
And it's going to be interesting because I keep listing off those 5 core players who are older, but then who are the younger core players that are going to, when that time comes where Bosa steps away and Trent Williams and all this, who are these core players right now? Is it Pooney? Is it, on the defensive side, like Mustafa or, Michael Williams, you would hope steps into that role. That's where I guess it's so interesting with San Francisco is you would almost like for them at some point to say, we need to start finding those building blocks for the past. And they're saying, no, we'll find them at some point. We'll figure it out later. We want to win right now. And we need to go for these guys that, are going to be here right now.
Yeah. And if you do that route, you better hope it pays off winning that Super Bowl. And then you'll take a setback. And then after that, you're just on a reset year. So it's like, I get the approach part, but you got to have some backup plans. But last season, it proved that we had some good depth pieces. So maybe there's something there.
Right. And last season, it proved, like I said, Kyle Shanahan provides such a floor that you aren't going to bottom out, and you just need a couple of these depth pieces to step up, and you're right back where you are because you're just going to simply be in it every year. It just depends on how high your ceiling is now, instead of how high your floor is.
So for those 49er fans, man, give them a fair excuse why last year was such a understandable year. I mean, even though we wanted to win the Super Bowl last year, but there was just a lot of factors of why it didn't go our way.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is that on the defensive side of the football, their two best players are Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, and neither of them were in the most important games for the San Francisco 49ers. Neither of them were in any games from November on. So it's really hard to win with those sort of things. And what made it so impactful after that is you said, okay, well, they lost Nick Bosa. Good thing they drafted 12th overall Michael Williams. Oh, well, he's out for the season. Oh, well, they drafted Fred Warner. Well, good thing Tatum Bethune, they drafted and developed him. Oh, well, he's injured and he can't play anymore. So, it just continued and continued, and it never seemed to, find their way where none of those players were healthy at the same time. And then you add in that, Purdy got hurt for a little bit. You add in that Pooney was hurt for the beginning of the season and wasn't playing at his best and then kind of found his way towards the end. They just never found the continuity. And that's why I think for the most part, you could look at it and say, it's so hard because a lot of people will say, based on the injuries, based on everything that happened, it's impressive that they got this far. The other side is you had a home game that could have secured the 1 seed. And we just saw that the team that won the 1 seed easily just made an easy run to the playoff or to the Super Bowl. And, you were that close to being that team. It's an obvious disappointment, but then, like I said, it's hard to say that because of all the injuries.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's hard to make excuses. It's hard to get upset about it, but you look at the way the team was going through, like you were talking about the players with the injuries, we were able to find some guys off the street step in, some guys off our practice squad, some guys who didn't get opportunities got a chance to shine. I mean, even with the linebackers, we had so many injuries. We had to go get Eric Kendricks, and I mean, we had to get Garrett Wallow, for God's sakes. I mean, it had to be that much of a situation. And then you look at the rest of our guys, like our defensive line, we had to go get Clelin Ferrell and quite a few other guys that we didn't even know about. Keon White, that guy kind of made an impact from here, but was it all flashy with all the numbers? What they produced consistently? No, but they were just guys that just who we got.
They surprisingly did enough in that game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I guess comes down to, well, the Eagles fired their offensive coordinator. The Eagles had a lot of issues, but I mean, yeah, they did enough to win that football game. And that's why Robert Saleh has a NFL head coaching job now, because he did a really stellar job with that defense based on all the pieces they were missing. Like you said, Clelin Ferrell was, a bust in the NFL, team to team, moving around. Like I said, all of a sudden he's creating pressures on Jalen Hurts in the biggest game of their season. Little things like that you just couldn't expect to have happen. Even in, Marcus Siegel, the rookie, obviously got benched, but I mean, the first 4 or 5 games of the season, this is like a 6th round pick who had to start his rookie season. It's very rare that you ask rookies to start, first off, that late of a draft pick. And then second of all, rookies at all in week 1, it's tough to ask them to do that. And they were able to get by for, a few weeks before Mustafa came back and everything like that. So yeah. Credit to Saleh.
Yeah. Siegel kind of had a good start going into the offseason when we drafted him. And then he just struggled throughout the stretch. But once we had Mustafa and quite a few people coming back, he was just inactive. And then there was times he was on the special teams. Then once the injuries kicked in with Brown, right? That's when he started coming in. And then he started playing good. Yeah, he was playing good at times, but his coverage assignments was a little off at times.
Right. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with him, because right now you'd assume he's in that dime role that Brown was kind of playing early in the season. But then the question is, do the 49ers add another safety this offseason? Because it would, one, either push Brown into the dime role, or then 2, they could either compete or replace Siegel in that dime role, or do they trust him there? That's the question.
I would think signing a veteran safety would probably make the most sense, because you want somebody who's got more experience. If you're going to go draft a rookie, I don't know if you're going to get one in the 1st or 2nd. You might have to just wait and see, but you're hoping maybe you can get one of those safeties, but more chances those rookies starting are like crapshoots. You don't know how good they could be.
Right, because especially the kid from Oregon and Toledo, I don't think are going to be there at 27. And if those guys are there at 27, you say, hey, well, that's great. We know we're taking the best player available. We'll figure it out from there. But because they won't be there, you kind of figure, okay, so we're not taking one round 1. We're probably not taking one round 2. A round 4 safety, like you said, is he even an upgrade over Siegel at this point? That's a debate for sure.
For sure, yeah. But it would just be hard to figure that out because I would think getting a veteran safety would probably make most sense. Like Justin Simmons can be available. There's quite a few other guys out there, but I think they're probably just looking at younger depth at this point. But Siegel, Brown kind of get the mixed results from both. But Mustafa, when he's healthy and plays his best, he's good.
Yeah, I tend to like Mustafa. And that's why I wonder if they're going to add somebody to compete with those two guys, or if they just, because right now, I mean, they could just say, we have a starting strong safety in Brown, we have a starting dime in Siegel. We just need, a fourth safety is not an investment we, put a lot of stock into. So they could be done, but like you said, whether it's a Simmons or whether it's somebody, I think they add somebody into the mix to at least compete with those guys.
Yeah. But even if it's the draft, we're getting towards that topic pretty soon. But I feel like this offseason, they kind of addressed a lot of other areas. But I feel like the offensive line was something they addressed, but it's not like the big names that our fans were hoping for, just a bunch of guys who are just backups. And all I've seen on the social media platform was a bunch of complaints, man. Like, oh, they didn't get an offensive lineman that's proven. A lot of backup scrubs.
The thing is, you have 4 of your spots are pretty much set. So, you just extended McKivitz. Whatever they do with Trent Williams, it seems like they're going to at least, this year he'll be on the team. So you have your tackle set. Brendel, they love him. He's been here for 4 years now. Pooney's a draft pick. 4 of your 5 spots are set. So you just need a left guard. And so, okay, Brett Toth, I personally think Brett Toth will replace Matt Hennessy as that backup center. And you saw last year that they needed him for a little bit, and it was valuable to have that veteran center who could slide into that role. I think he could be that. But then Robert Jones is okay. The one issue, obviously, is that he missed the entire season last season. And the 49ers are a team that injury luck has not been on their side recently. You put those things together and you could be concerned. But Robert Jones in 2024 got his first real chance at starting, looked really good, was playing in that Mike McDaniel scheme. That's obviously going to be somewhat similar to what he's going to do in San Francisco. A lot of things in 2024, if they had signed him in 2025 and he didn't get hurt, people would be saying, wow, this is a great signing. This is a young up-and-coming player who just had experience, everything like that. Because he was hurt and missed all of 2025, it's the, oh, this guy's a nobody, just another injury-prone player, all these sort of things, which is a fair criticism. But it's also true that if Robert Jones gets back to his 2024 shape, it's actually a really good signing. And then we just said, you haven't talked about the NFL draft yet. Okay, they're not going to take a safety in one of their first 2 picks. They could very easily take somebody who could start at left guard in one of those first 2 picks. And then all of a sudden, did they do enough for the offensive line? Well, they added a backup center who's maybe better than Hennessy. They added a backup left guard in Robert Jones, who's pretty good. They added a backup left tackle who's better than any tackle they had last year. And they drafted somebody who could start at left guard. If that's how you summarize it, you say, well, they upgraded at 4 of the 9 offensive line spots. Of course they did enough. But until you solve that left guard spot, I can understand why people are a little worried about it.
Yeah, and it's not even a long-term option. I mean, you got Robert Jones for 1 year and Brett Toth for 1 year, and then the tackle we got for 2 years.
Right. And Lowe is one of those that in, week 18 when Trent Williams goes down and you have just Austin Pleasance starting, that's what you signed Lowe for, is so that you're not stuck with somebody like Austin Pleasance. Lowe isn't like, oh, when Williams retires, we can hand the keys over to Vidarian Lowe. No, that's not. He should be the backup for whoever you hand the keys over to if you want to continue to, have him on the roster.
Yeah, but that would have to be when we have to go find that tackle. But I don't know if it's this year's draft or not. But, since we're talking about the draft, 27 pick, who do you want the 49ers to pound the table, and what's a big need that you feel like they need to upgrade?
I think it really comes down to 2 positions for the most part. Like we talked about, I think safety arguably, but there's just not going to be a guy there. I think it does come down to, are you going to upgrade that left guard spot, or can you get an edge rusher who could, replace that Bryce Huff role of on third downs when they could slide Mykel Williams inside? That's when he was by far the most productive as a pass rusher, is when they moved him inside. And then you get that speed rusher on the outside. And now that you have Osa Odigizua, Michael Williams was very good next to guys like Jordan Elliott. Odighizu was so much better than Jordan Elliott. Imagine Michael Williams with the space that he'll have freed up because of Odighizu. And if you could get that speed rusher on the outside, and that's where you could, on one case, argue a third edge rusher who only plays on third downs, is that worth the 27th overall pick? On the other side, you argue the 49ers are trying to win a Super Bowl. It's one of their few missing pieces, and it helps unlock one of their best packages, and it helps unlock Michael Williams. Of course, it's worth the 27th overall pick. So I think it really comes down to those two. And what I tend to lean to is if Caden Proctor from Alabama is there, I have a hard time not taking him, because he's massive. Two, he can move, which is really impressive for the 49ers scheme. They really like to get their offensive linemen to move. He plays left tackle, and a lot of people project him to guard because of his ability to kind of with inside counters and things like that and pass protection. Because of that, I think if you're the 49ers, you plug and play him at left guard. He's your starter there and an upgrade there. And then if he continues to develop, and if you like where he plays, you could move him to left tackle. You don't have to. He could be your left guard for the next 10 years, but he could be a left guard for 2 or 3 years. Then you could slide him out to left tackle, and all of a sudden you've really kind of killed two needs with one stone. So that's probably my top pick right now. But after that, I'm looking at edge rushers.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But when you look at the Niners wide receiver core, they went into this offseason and upgrade the position with a lot of these age veterans.
That's a good point too. And actually, I do think, who have they brought in so far? Cooper, Concepcion, Denzel Boston. I think there was one other guy that they brought in too. So they're obviously looking at those receivers, and that could be a spot that I wouldn't be surprised either if they took one of those guys too, especially because you think, oh, they took Christian Kirk. He could be that third receiver. Christian Kirk has been injured. I think he missed 13 games the past 2 seasons. He had like 200 yards last season. While he's nice on paper and while we remember him having a couple good seasons in the NFL, he's probably not that starter caliber player. So I think, first off, Denzel Boston, I like him. I think he's a great prospect. I just wonder on the 49ers, he's almost more of a backup and long-term insurance to Mike Evans than he is like somebody who could start right away. Whereas Concepcion and Cooper, you could put those dudes in the slot. You could do a lot of different things with them, getting the ball in their hands. So I think between the group of the receivers that they're looking at, I think those are the best two, especially because of they're more like the Deebo Samuel type of role, especially Cooper, and how you could just get the ball in his hands, short spaces, and everything like that. Whereas, Evans and Pearsall will be down the field targets. Cooper will be short, get the ball in his hands, things like that.
Yeah, like you're saying, like one of those kind of guys. Like, even if we don't get those two other receivers, there's quite a few other options I'm looking at, like, possibly like second to maybe like later rounds, like 4th round. Zachariah Branch is somebody I've heard about. Like, he's quite the gadget player that Kyle would just love. Like, he just has to have him. Like, even it wouldn't surprise me if we reach for him in the 2nd round or something, because he seems like that kind of gadget-ish player, but fast as hell. Somebody that Kyle can utilize in a lot of different ways.
He's very much a Kyle Shanahan type of player in that I think even at Georgia, and the reason that he's not going to go, 1st round and everything like that, because he is an explosive receiver and he's so shifty with the ball in his hands. He almost like as a prospect, not as like the NFL results, but reminds you of Kadarius Toney, who went in the 1st round and everything like that. So you think, oh, a guy who reminds you of someone who went in the 1st round. Why doesn't he go that high? Because he doesn't have an extensive route tree. He gets the ball very close to the line of scrimmage. But like you said, that's what Kyle Shanahan loves to do. That's how he loves to get his receivers the football. So I think that's a great fit. And another one or two guys that I really like are Jeremy Bernard from Alabama. I think he's a great fit for the 49ers because like they were using him at running back at times at Alabama. And even I think he was throwing the football at times at Alabama. Like this dude was doing everything. They were getting him the ball behind the line of scrimmage. They were moving him in every different bit of the formation. That's a very Shanahan fit. And then I think you did an interview with Josh Cameron from Baylor, the big body X receiver who is just another guy that when you get the football in his hands, he's so tough to bring down. He's so violent. He's almost like a similar version of Jawan Jennings. So I could see them adding him to replace Jawan Jennings.
Oh, yeah. That's a possible guy to replace. Then you got Chris Bell, who's coming off a serious injury, but has that upside that you want to take. I mean, he's quite a yak guy, a physical kind of receiver. I mean, if you draft him, at least you know you got your other starters right there, and then in case you can get them ready down the stretch, that can be an option. Maybe second round if he's there, but would it be a shock if we take him in the first round? Maybe not.
I think maybe not, but I think that me personally, and maybe because of all these 49ers injuries, it's like, are they
Yeah, that's
really
the
going
problem.
to are they really going to draft an injury player in the first round? Would that be, first off, the argument is yes, they would. Of course they would. They added Mike
And
Evans,
it's
who has
been
injury
like
history.
reports out there. It's been like they showed some interest. So I'm kind of like scratching my head, like, please don't consider it, but we'll see.
Right, and that's another one that he's very good with the ball in his hands, and it almost seems like, if you're looking for the 49ers fit for receiver, sort by, yards after the catch and then go from there and say, who are the best prospects in this draft when it comes to yards after the catch, and then we'll go from there. And I think we listed a lot of them with,
Yeah.
Branch, Bernard, Bell, all those sort of guys are so good after the catch, and we know that's what Shanahan loves, so why isn't it a fit?
Yeah. And then there's another one. Ted Hurst from Georgia State's another good one. And then I don't know if this is considered a conversation, but I guess I could throw that out there. I mean, I know it's bad memories for our fan base when it comes to another Lance, but this guy has speed. This guy can be a vertical receiver with big size. I don't know. What do you think of Bryce Lance?
Yeah, I mean, are you really going to penalize him for what his brother did, or does his brother hate the 49ers that much that Bryce isn't going to show up and play well? I think I don't know if it's the North Dakota State jersey or whatever, but I see a lot of Christian Watson, or he reminds me a
That's what
lot of
I've seen.
Christian. Yeah,
I've
so I mean, just that fast guy who can, and obviously, at times Watson hasn't lived up to his draft slot, mainly because of injuries. But when Watson's healthy, his speed and ability to make plays down the football field demand respect, and that's obviously a huge attribute.
Yeah,
So I mean, I
yeah,
don't see a huge difference from Watson as a prospect.
yeah. It's like you're just saying we're not sure about the relationship between the Lance family and all that stuff, but it just seems kind of odd for somebody. Like if you get drafted, it's a job. You're
Right.
getting
And
paid for it.
especially, it's not like he's like a Manning where, first overall pick, this, that, and the other. This might be, I guess they would have to take him in the second round or maybe even in the fourth round. He's going to go in that, who knows what range.
Man,
But
if we take him in the second round, can you imagine how crazy our fans will act like?
oh, yeah, it's going to be crazy. Yeah.
What about those Lance jerseys? Just get them off your closet.
Hopefully he should wear the same number. Hopefully they have the same number open.
Well, actually, Robinson has that number, but he might have to just buy it off of him or something.
If they're going to draft a receiver, who knows for how long?
Yeah, but yeah, I had to throw that option out there. But there's another receiver who can actually replace what Sky Moore does. I mean, there's a couple of options. You got Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State, and you got Deion Burks from Oklahoma. They kind of give you that return ability and those gadget plays and all that stuff.
Yep, and another one. This is strictly a return man. Caden Wetchen from Iowa. He's like, he doesn't even do receiving stuff. He's mostly just a return man. If they wanted to go that route, but then what do you think about Jacob Cowing? Is he going to be in the mix this year? Does he have a role? Do they even care about him?
That's the problem. It seems like he's been out of the picture. I mean, now you're seeing Jordan Watkins starting to take that role. Then you're going to see the same with Garando. The guy's got speed, but ball security issues. They had him as a returner, and then he just couldn't hold on to the ball.
Right, and he can't even stay healthy either. So that's, yeah. I mean, these guys that Cowing can't stay healthy. Watkins hasn't been able to stay healthy. So it's maybe they're just going to take another, just another swing at it. So and another one I'll mention is Eric Rivers from Georgia Tech. I think he's really good at he's just another deep ball receiver, similar to Brendan Thompson, just not as speedy, but a little bit bigger. So you can kind of take that trade off, I guess.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of the stocks with certain other receivers. Like you got Chris Brazell from Tennessee, big size, quite fast. I don't know if he's another Dante Thornton. I don't know.
Right.
Seems like I mean he's got the size and everything you're looking for.
He's kind of like a one-track player or like a one hit
It seems
one
like.
hit. He's got one note sort of that he can play and play and play, but then it's, Kenny. And that is, like I said, if it hits, could he be that Christian Watson style of player? I thought he, reminded me similar to DJ Chark, a player who could take the top off, but was kind of a complementary skill set. but that's like a third round type of player. So I don't know if even in the second round, maybe at 58, I guess that would be where you would probably start to think, hey, Brazil's not a bad prospect.
Oh, absolutely. But then there's one I like is Jacoby Lane. He's a good one.
A big wide receiver, yeah. And another big guy is Elijah Surratt. He, doesn't create a lot of separation, but he just makes a lot of, really catches away from his body, extends his catch radius, things like that.
Yeah, he's quite a faster Keenan Allen, if I'm being honest, because he fights through the separation. I like Surratt. Like if we didn't get the receivers early and he's there, I'm taking him. No question.
That's a good one. Especially what's interesting is that, he mainly played outside, but if you put him in the slot like a Keenan Allen in the NFL, I think his lack of speed would really be mitigated.
It would replace what Jennings is doing too, but he would do it at a better level, actually.
He's such a tough guy. That's just like I said with Cameron is you put that tough guy in that tough, physical, big 200-something plus 220 pounds. You put him in that slot role. Guys just bounce off him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, here's one good comment that I have to agree since we're still talking about wide receivers, man. Jeff Caldwell is a guy that's 6'5" wide receiver from Cincinnati, runs a 4.3. I don't know, like I'm watching some of his tape and he kind of stands out, but is he just a one-trick pony or is he actually really good?
I'm not sold on him yet. I think he's one of those guys that, like there's every once in a while you see one of those people that, he's really big, he's really fast, he's got this, that, and the other, but it's like, but can he play wide receiver? And then when you watch him and you say, like you said, he lacks this, he doesn't quite have the hands. I think that's his biggest issue in my opinion. The speed shows at times, but it doesn't it's not functional speed in that, when he drops his hips and wants to create space over the middle, it takes him, those seconds it takes him to gear down and wind up. That's not that straight line speed. And it shows, and it creates those cornerbacks can kind of create, can close the separation on him.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the tape doesn't say otherwise. I mean, I'm trying to see what he's all about. I mean, sometimes you get those combine standouts and they just have that remarkable speed, but then when you look at their tape, you're thinking they're not as fast as what we thought they were.
Exactly. And that's why I think despite like he said, nobody's talking about him. He flies and he's huge. I think there's still a reason that everyone said, wow, what an impressive combine. And then they went back and said, maybe we'll jump him from the 6th round to the 5th round,
Oh yeah. I guess they have an opinion on who they like. I mean, Ted Hurst is another one. Brazil and Concepcion are kind of nice. But if I had to choose 3 of the receivers I like, easily Omar Cooper, Concepcion, and this may sound crazy, but I'm going to go Jacoby Lane as my favorite because I like him. I like those 3 type of receivers.
That's a good one. Yeah, I guess I'll go for my top 3, and I guess it's kind of like the 3 best fits for the 49ers would be, Cooper, Concepcion, and then I think still I'll go back to Jeremy Bernard, but an underrated one. Underrated one, I think, is Skylar Bell from UConn. He gives me Emmanuel Sanders vibes. So I think, you put him right back in that Emmanuel Sanders role. That's my by far most underrated receiver right now.
Oh, here's another guy that I've heard a little bit about. He's got speed too.
Yeah, he seems like he's a little bit thinner, but that's similar to the other guy from Oregon, Troy Franklin, who was tall, thin, fast, everything like that. That's what kind of that reminded me of when I was watching him. And then maybe, like I said, again, it's that helmet scouting, but Franklin has been pretty good for Oregon or for the Broncos, been able to make plays as a complimentary receiver.
He's been nice, but then you look at the offensive line, like we're going into the draft, like I guess from all the reports from Matt Miyoko and a lot of the 49ers insiders, they don't think we're going to draft an offensive lineman until maybe 4th round or something. Do you buy into that, or do you think it's possible we're probably going to have to look at a day 3 option offensive lineman that we have to look deeper into?
I think there's a chance. I think that all the mock drafts that have them taking a left tackle in the 1st round to replace Trent Williams are I don't think they're correct. I think that the 49ers would, like I said, would rather win with Trent Williams than replace Trent Williams at this point. And they'll deal with replacing Trent Williams later, so that's how I view it for them. So if they're looking at left tackle specifically, then I'm thinking, yes, it could be waiting until day 3 or waiting until later in the draft. If the top, like I said, if Caden Proctor's there and they think, hey, we could put Caden Proctor at left guard and start him there, and then he could eventually play left tackle, that's a different conversation. And then if, like Basantis or Pregnon, the 2 guys, I think that I think they're sneaky candidates for 27. I don't think they're favorite candidates, but if they took Basantis or Pregnon, it would be slight reaches, but it would be a huge upgrade at left guard, and it would be guys that could potentially start for years down the line. So I wouldn't be shocked at that. And then I think Rutledge in the second round would be another one that I wouldn't be shocked at. But besides that, yeah, I mean, I could see them moving because, like I said, they have 4 of their 5 spots legitimized. So how hard is it to find a left guard?
Yeah, and then even at this situation, I do like this guy from Arizona State, Ian Heiner. Like, he's got good footwork. He's really aggressive at his at the position. I mean, he's still new at it because he came from Nigeria, but
right. He's that option of, like I said, if you do want to go the option of let's take Trent Williams' replacement, let's have him sit for a year or two, and then he'll be ready to go when Williams is retired. I mean, it doesn't get better than this kid. He's a basketball player, a former basketball player at 320 pounds who runs under 540. I mean, there just aren't human beings in the world that are like this kid. And he progressed at the sport of football despite not playing it for a very long time. There's just, like I said, there's just not a better player than that. It's just the question of, do the 49ers want to take somebody who's going to sit for a couple years, or do they want to take somebody who can help Trent Williams win a Super Bowl? That's the debate to me.
That's what it seems like. But if we're going realistic, yeah, probably day 3 will be where we go at. Like, I think if this guy happens to be available, which I'm seeing him move up draft stocks a little bit, Michael Morris from Georgia is quite an intriguing one. Like, over, I guess, the last 3 seasons, hasn't allowed a single sack, over 900 plus snaps, not a single pressure. This guy is remarkable.
And he's big and he's athletic, and he could start potentially at left guard.
It seems like he might be like that candidate pick we might go in the second round where it catches people by surprise. I think I might go on a hot take and say, if we are going to go offensive lineman early unexpectedly, it wouldn't surprise me if Michael Morris becomes that second round pick. Because remember, Aaron Banks was picked so early because he was such a big size too.
That's true. And Banks wasn't expected to go in the second round either before he went in the second round. So I mean, you could see that there.
There's a couple of guys I like when it comes to the position. Like day 3, you're looking at guys like Fuehu, whatever, from Oklahoma. He could play guard and center. Correct. But the one guy I don't think nobody's talking about the most is Fernando Carmona from Arkansas. Quite a feisty, physical kind of offensive lineman that just plays to the whistle. I mean, there's a couple of different options. I mean, if you want to take a future replacement for Trent Williams, I guess Travis Burke can be your project and just develop him nicely. I mean, watching his tape from Memphis, man, he led the nation in pancakes. I can see why. A 6'9" guy just.
I was going to say, he's massive. He's really big. And that's the thing, is that he's one of those guys that, luckily for him, is that he's going so late that, Ian Archer, he's going at like 27. You got to, that's such a risk. There's investment in it. There's opportunity risk. With this kid, if he doesn't pan out or if he doesn't have to start for 2 years, it's really no big deal. So that's where he's an easier pick to swallow. 2 names I'll throw out since we're talking offensive line: Cage Casey from Boise State and Carver Willis from Washington. I think both of them play left tackle, but both of them have shorter arms. They're both pretty athletic, though. I think they slide both of them into guard. I think on day 3 or something like that, you take these 2 kids who formerly played left tackle, and that's usually where you find quality guards in the NFL, are dudes who excelled at tackle but can't quite cut it in the NFL at tackle. You slide them into guard. I like Carver Willis and Cage Casey.
Oh, yeah. Carver Willis kind of gives me a little bit of McKivitz vibe, a little bit, just from his game.
I could see that too, yeah.
Yeah, and then speaking of another guy, this guy has the best mullet if we're talking about the guy coming into the draft, Dunker. I mean, if we somehow get him, cool, but I don't think so. I don't know. Like, he got the best mullet, man. Him and George Kittle can be those Iowa buddies, man.
Yeah, right. Iowa, there you go. I think he's going to go higher because of like his reputation and because of the Iowa and stuff. He's another one, though, that I think he's a tackle, but I think he's going to be a guard in the NFL, and he's going to be a really good guard, but I think that's where he'll fit in, and maybe that's where the 49ers will see him. But like you said, I don't know if the draft fit will make sense.
I don't know, but maybe politics plays a factor. Maybe Connor Colby, maybe George Kittle kind of goes into the office and say, "Hey, let's get this Dunker kid."
That's right, yeah.
Because remember Mike McGlinchey had something to say to one of the front office about Aaron Banks.
Yeah, there you go.
Draft him.
Well, they keep saying Kittle is recruiting all these guys. Kittle's trying to recruit all these guys.
I think that's a possibility. If we do get Dunker, it's got to be the Kittle factor.
Yeah, I'll give it to you there. Yeah.
Yeah. What about edge? Who do you think the Niners should get? I think as far as edge rush, we're looking for somebody who can rush the passer, somebody like that fits into the Raheem Morris mode. If we're looking for the ideal guy, it would be Malachi Lawrence, just fast, long arm specimen. Like he's got the speed.
Yeah, and the upside's insane with him. Like you said, he's got the long arms. He can rush off the edge. I think that if you give him time, he can develop as a run defender and just be an overall stud. And I think like a lot of people are mocking him in the second round. I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden they took him in the first round. And then people, on draft weekend, oh, I can't believe they reached for Malachi Lawrence. And then 2 years from now, it's like, he posted back-to-back 8-sack seasons, and he's getting better and better against the run every year. What a great pick at number 27 overall. I feel like he has by far some of the most upside.
Yeah, he would be the perfect Raheem Morris pick if we're going by the speed, long arms, and all that. But if it were me, I like Cassius Hell. I like Mason Thomas.
Yeah.
But realistically, it comes down to who we look for. And I think Lawrence would probably be the perfect mold that Raheem Morris is looking for because he's a fast, quick speed rusher, specimen as hell.
Yeah,
and those are good. Those are good traits.
One edge rusher I like that I think could fit is Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State.
I like him.
He had a really great combine. He's really fast and explosive, really long arms. I thought he had an interesting pass rushing arsenal. Like he has moves. He has a really good spin move that he uses. People thought that, two things that one, he couldn't bend the edge and two, he couldn't finish on sacks, but then he showed it during his 3-cone. He posted a really good 3-cone, which almost equals ankle flexion. So there's obviously physically he can bend the edge. It's just, he needs to get coached into it. And then finishing sacks is another thing you can get coached into. He has everything that you can't coach. And all the things he is missing are things you can coach. I mean, I just think, put him in at speed rusher for a year or two and then just have him develop his moves. And all of a sudden he's a stud.
Oh yeah. I can see where you're coming from with that. I mean, he's got amazing tape. It's quite coachable. I mean, if we're going by somebody that maybe go for like a day 3 option or something like that, I mean, I'm seeing this guy kind of moving up draft boards a little bit. The Dame Tucker is somebody that I'm seeing a lot about, but
yeah,
he would be somebody you already would be rolling the dice with. But I think if Joshua Joseph slides, I wouldn't mind him, but I think he's going to be moving up draft boards from Tennessee. This kid, he's got a lot of potential, but it's just like when I'm watching his tape, I like a little bit of what I'm seeing from his tape, but it's just consistency. Like he just doesn't seem to finish off, and that's coachable.
I think, like Danny Dennis Sutton and Josephs are the two guys that I think you just take a bet on. I've seen their physical qualities. I've seen enough flashes. Now I want to coach him up and make him become the player that he's supposed to be. I think those are the two by far guys that are like, coach them up and make them become the stud.
And the coolest name in the draft that happens to be a pass rusher is Romello Height, man. It's just, if only he added like 15 more pounds of weight. Yeah. I like the way he gets his get off. It just stands out.
Right. I compared him to two players, honestly. Nick Herbig on the Steelers, who, he's their third rusher, but he just had 7.5 sacks last season, which is actually more than TJ Watt. So, like, he can come in and complement TJ Watt, but then outperform TJ Watt on those pass rushing downs. And then a 49ers comparison, I thought, like, Samson Ebukam, who could just be that speed rusher off the edge. The issue, similar with Herbig and Ebukam, are that, smaller, doesn't play on rundowns, all those sort of things. But when it comes to just be aggressive and get after the passer, he's really good.
Yeah. I mean, there's some other options to consider. Like Mason Thomas to me is like one of my favorites. Like he's got that quick get off. I guess he's getting the comparison of D Ford. So that's kind of intriguing.
That's another one. And they both play so low to the ground is probably why he's so compared to D Ford. They both are just able to stay low when they're bending the corner. And he's another one that, okay, he may get swallowed up in the run game early on in his career. Okay, well, Bryce Huff was not a run defender, and he had a very valuable role for the 49ers, and they need to replace that. So Mason Thomas in that Bryce Huff role isn't an issue.
But would it be a reach to get him in the first round or no?
I think Malachi Lawrence, I think no. R. Mason Thomas is right on that edge of I think Lawrence has more physical upside. Lawrence has more run defending potential. Whereas I think R. Mason Thomas is strictly going to just be a speed rusher. So I think that's like the line of maybe I would rather hope Mason falls to 58, where I wouldn't have an issue reaching for Lawrence.
Oh, okay. So there's a difference right there. But I mean, your boy Grant even said that Mason Thomas is somebody we should get.
I think he did say that, yeah, and he's been one of those people. He's projecting heavily. 49ers are going to take an edge rusher. He's been calling his shot for a little bit now. I've been hesitant. Like I said, I still think, if you can get that offensive lineman, we've talked about receivers. I have been
What about
hesitant
tight
to
end?
say it, but if the fit's there, I could see it.
Yeah. What about tight ends? We'll get to that final topic from here. I mean, I don't think we're going to go as early with these tight ends. So I'm guessing day 3 would be the option. Who would be
Yeah,
your day 3 tight end that you would think Niners should get?
right. I mean, first of all, I just don't think Sadiq, is gonna one be there, two, be the greatest fit for them. So yeah, definitely getting into day 3. I guess the question is, Oscar Delp from Georgia, when does
Ooh,
he go in the draft? I think he's already a pretty good blocker. I think he ran like a 4.49 at the NFL Combine or at the Pro Day. And I mean, tight ends with fast 40s that can block are, just sign me up for that. Daquan Wright, another one from Mississippi. He didn't run his 40. He looks really fast. And I thought his blocking was better than some people did. So I think Wright and Delp are probably the two guys that I like the most on day 3.
okay. As far as day 3 for me is, I like Sam Roush's tape from Stanford. He
Yeah.
stands out. He blocks well. I don't know if anybody's even talking about this guy, but they don't give him enough recognition. I'm talking about Josh Cuevas from Alabama, quite a good
Yeah.
blocker. And when he gets the ball in his hands, bro, it's hard to tackle the guy.
And you know what they could do with a guy like Cuevas is, eventually have him slide in for Juszczyk at times or play in Juszczyk's role. He's done
Bingo.
that sort of like H-back, fullback, coming out of the backfield, just that tough blocker, gritty and everything like that. And then he could also slide in line as well. That's what makes him a little more valuable on day 3.
I think his blocking game is still valuable, and there's different ways how you can utilize him. But it's like then there's the guy from Oklahoma who's actually was a guy that switched from position. I mean, he can be the check replacement, but he plays tight end, played linebacker, played a lot of roles on special teams, everything.
Right. Is that what you want out of your tight end is just like that, Swiss Army knife chess piece sort of skill player. That's a Shanahan fit in a lot of scenarios. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it's we can go either direction, but let's go with the safety position that you think maybe that we should consider looking at, like for day 3, maybe or maybe a second round pick. Who do you have in mind that maybe Niners should take a fly on?
I guess looking around here, some guys I would think because I'm looking mainly for like a box safety, a dime type of player. I think the two guys on day 3 that fit the most are and maybe he'll go day 2, Jacoby Thomas from Miami,
Ooh.
just like a heat-seeking missile. I wouldn't be surprised that you put him in the box and then you put Jair Brown in the dime immediately, and then VJ Payne. VJ Payne is
Ooh,
a
I like
massive
him.
safety. Yeah, he's just huge, and there are some concerns with his ability to change directions. But I think as a rookie, you have him play dime, and he's almost like that pseudo box linebacker. And there's a little less questions for him, with moving in space and things like that. So I would like him on day 3.
I mean, he's quite a hitter and he fights for that ball too, which I like about him. I mean,
Yeah.
he comes from the same school as Siegel came from, so maybe that would be the connection vibes right there. I mean, there's another guy that I have in mind, but I think he's going to start moving up draft boards because he's a little bit faster than what people give him credit for. Robert Spears Jennings is quite the fit. Like he would be a guy that can make plays, react pretty quickly. I mean, I think he's pretty good. I mean, there's another safety I like also. I mean, I don't know if Wheatley's going to be available, but he's been listed on day 3 picks, so I do like Wheatley's tape a little more.
I mean, when I view him, I see a guy that's like obviously he's going to go day 2 in my opinion, but then like you said, you see those things and are like, well, no, he's not going to go day 2. And I mean, that's where he's by far the best player available at a certain
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and Bud Clark's got them ball skills, so it's kind of like I don't know where he's going. Is he going third or fourth round? If he's available in the fourth round, I might try to move up for that kid.
Another guy who could just start in the box. Yeah.
Yeah, And then there's the guy from USC, Bishop Fitzgerald, and then there's Kamari Ramsey, one of those options. But I don't know. I think maybe Fitzgerald might be the realistic option because I think he's been listed as a day 3 pick at safety.
Right. Ramsey seems like he's going to go too high, and he doesn't seem like the perfect fit. He almost seems like, in my opinion, he might be better in the slot, which, Upton Styles kind of in there. So I don't see him as the best fit. Fitzgerald is not a bad fit because he could play the box, and then he could play special teams too.
Oh, absolutely, man. But hey, man, we pretty much covered everything, bro.
I was going to say, yeah, we hit some prospects.
Yeah, we've been hitting prospects pretty well, but I think everything kind of takes care of itself. But I guess if we had to pick one sleeper that maybe Niners should take it in day 3, because sometimes finding that diamond round, if I don't think linebacker is going to be quite the biggest need, but if there was a linebacker that I would want the Niners to pound the table for, I like the kid from Arkansas. Sorry, man, that guy just stands out. Makes plays after plays. I mean, that's a guy that I would be okay with if you're going to try to replace like Greenlaw's for 1 year, right? Why not get mentored by one of the guys who played at that same program?
He seems like a pretty good tackle prospect for sure. Like he can really tackle well. So that would be like a pretty good fit there as well. Yeah, for sure.
What would be your sleeper option? Like, let's say it won't be like a need, but it could be somebody we can get down the road.
Yeah, trying to look at some really good ones. I think really one guy I really like is Crownover from Texas A&M, but even getting a little bit deeper, Pounds, the left tackle from Ole Miss, he's one of those. You could take him really late and then kind of try to develop him into something because he is a ball of clay with his physical abilities.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Fernando Carmona would be a good one also, but I think when you look at all the positions, there's guys. What's his favorite workout? What is he talking about? I think he's talking about something else, but I think we pretty much covered everything, bro. We'll definitely catch up. Maybe we'll do something after the draft if it becomes available.
For sure. Yeah, we'll definitely talk soon.
Yeah, and for everybody else, thanks for tuning in, and tell everybody where they can find your social media platform.
Yeah, check me out on Twitter at Parker Hurley. Like I said, I just started a TikTok at Parker Hurley 1. I'm doing mock drafts there, 49ers news, everything draft related over there. Everything 49ers related on SI, 49ersoNSI.com. So check out everything there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And for everybody else, man, thank you guys for tuning in. We out.